Hi, Jamie Phillips here, talking about DevOps again, and today we're going to be talking about the DevOps learning curve. You may have heard this before, you may not have, so this is my take on the topic. So the DevOps learning curve is J-shaped, and the reason it's J-shaped is that it's pretty straightforward to get started with a lot of tasks. So as you start on this side of the curve, you can automate things in your everyday workflow that you do all the time. So you can automate things that are simple scripts that help you do a task, automating a very simple application's build, automating the deployment of a really simple application or a single file, even just taking your normal workflow and making alias commands and things like that is pretty straightforward for getting started. But as you progress on your journey in DevOps, as you approach the bottom of the J, it's going to start getting more difficult. And so you're going to have to rely on these early victories and these early things that got you started to get you through the bottom of the J. The time that you've saved on the first half of the J is going to be time that you can use and leverage for getting you through the more difficult and hard things to automate. But once you're through that, once you push through that really difficult low trough, you'll be there. All the hard tasks will start seeming less difficult, less hard, and you'll be able to automate more and more things. Part of it is a mindset, and part of it is just the effort of pushing through the really hard part is going to help you expand how you think about problems and approach those topics. There's lots of ways to automate things, and a typical, from my background, being a developer, sometimes it's not always obvious to me. Sometimes scripting doesn't settle well in my mind, like how I approach a problem from that angle. And so that's part of this journey and part of the learning curve. Writing simple scripts is easy. Writing very complex scripts and learning the PowerShell functions or Bash functions that you need to make more complex scripts are going to be part of what makes this difficult. And as you approach the bottom of the curve and you start learning more difficult things, you might have to bring in more tools. So there's going to take a ramp up time and learning how that tool uses and the best use case for that. So that's part of why it gets difficult and gets hard down there at the bottom of the J. But once you're through that, you'll be at the top and you'll be looking back thinking, I can automate anything. And you have confidence. But also keep in mind that unless your team and you go through this journey together, not everybody's going to be there. And so everybody's going to have to work through that curve, and you can help them along with that. Just be patient, have empathy, and understand that if you've went through this transformation and went through this process and learning curve, then you're going to have to realize that not everybody has been through that, and they're going to have to go through it. So you can't skip through it, at least in my opinion. It's not something you can skip. It's just going to take some time, because if you try to skip and people jump to the top, there's going to be a lot of things they don't understand and a lot of complexity that maybe is hard to grok. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about the learning curve. I think it's important just to know that it's there. Most of this is just my opinion, but I found that this approach kind of helps to think about the learning curve and think about how you fit and what part of the progress that you're on there. And just be aware that not everybody's in the same place. And so you might have to do some level setting and some work to bring everybody else along. At least get them to the same spot. And if you get to the bottom of the J and you realize that it's just too hard and that you don't need to carry on, well, that's perfectly fine, because all the work you've done up until that point is still saving you time and helping you along in your journey. And it may take you a few days or weeks or months to get back around to it, right? You might have to let it soak in for a while. My DevOps journey has been a 9-year journey, and it has been really a 5-year journey up to the point where I could start doing it from a developer perspective. So just know it's going to take some time. Well, have a good day, and hopefully I will post back next week. And please subscribe if you like these and provide me feedback. I want to know what's being useful or helpful to you. Thanks.